final bell rang, and chaos erupted. It wasn't just school ending, it was the start of the Simp Olympics. Every guy in the hallway pressed their face against the glass, desperate for 1 pixel of the class idol. Marika ignored the horde of thirsty zombies and locked onto her target. She walked right up to Kanata and dropped the invite. The poor guy's brain short-circuited. He didn't even speak, he just rebooted and stuttered out a yes. Then she pulled the oldest trick in the book, the forgot my bag maneuver. The second she vanished, the interrogation began. A girl cornered him, eyes wide with panic, asking if they were an item. Kanata played the childhood friend card, and the entire room let out a sigh of relief. Absolutely brutal friend zoning of himself. Marika returned and got swarmed like a raid boss. Karaoke? Ramen? They threw every invite in the book at her. She shut them down with zero hesitation. She was booked, busy, and leaving with the main character. Walking next to her felt like walking into a flashbang. Random NPCs on the street were practically planning their marriage just by catching a glimpse. But the moment they hit the quiet back streets, the atmosphere got heavy. Marika dropped the idol mask. She hated the stares. She knew exactly where everyone was looking, and it definitely wasn't her eyes. Kanata tried to act casual, dodging the heavy talk, but inside his head, alarm bells were ringing. He was analyzing every micro-expression, terrified of messing up because he was down bad. The power gap was destroying him. He felt like a level 1 slime standing next to the hero. Total background character energy radiating off him. A shooting star ripped across the sky because of course anime logic demands a romantic backdrop. Marika started rambling about ice cream, completely oblivious to the World War III happening in Kanata's brain. He wanted to make a move, but the fear paralyzed him. One wrong word, and he doesn't just lose the girl, he gets sent to the friend zone lobby forever. He slapped his hands together, praying to the RNG gods for a literal cheat code. In his head, he was begging to see affection levels, just like a dating sim UI. And because anime logic is absolutely undefeated, the universe listened. A neon pink status bar instantly glitched into existence right next to Marika, hovering there like a glitch in the Matrix. The next morning, he woke up convinced he had just hallucinated the whole thing from being down bad. He told himself it was just a fever dream. He tried to act normal when Marika said hello, but his brain was still buffering, unable to process reality. He walked into the living room and got hit with a literal jump scare. His mom was rocking a massive pink health bar right next to her face. He stared at the floating graphics so hard that she asked if he was okay, forcing him to panic dodge the question like he was avoiding a lawsuit. Then the dog barked. He looked down, and even Mameko was running the software. Both mom and the dog were maxed out on affection. He looked at the stats and realized, at least we know the dog is a certified good boy. He hit the streets to beta test the feature. He scanned a random NPC grandpa. Nothing. He checked his bro from class. 0 bars. He realized the HUD is strictly waifu only. He tried to gaslight himself into thinking it was just his imagination. He slid the classroom door open, expecting a normal, boring day. But the moment he looked inside, the scenery changed. His eyes almost popped out of his skull at the sheer amount of data flooding his vision. Every single girl in the room is walking around with a pink HUD floating next to their head, but the dudes are just standard NPCs with 0 UI. He starts sweating bullets. He realizes the universe actually went ahead and installed the love meter mod he wished for. Mikasa rolls up with a cheerful morning wave, completely unaware she is being actively data mined by his eyeballs. He checks her stats. She is sitting at 50% capacity, so he decides to run a quick beta test. Strategy: swipe a speck of dust off her hair. It is a critical hit. The text literally screams rise as her affection bar goes vertical like a crypto chart. He almost has a heart attack at the instant feedback. But before he can pop the champagne, the fun police arrive. Silver Hair over here is sitting on a desk while clicking her tongue loud enough to shatter glass. You can feel the judgment radiating off her. She hits him with a death glare for bad manners. Her meter flushes down the toilet instantly, forcing him to apologize just to stop the bleeding. So the system is legit. He can track the entire school's simp levels in real time, but he only cares about one girl's stats, Marika. And right on cue, her voice echoes down the hall like a boss battle intro. Marika hits him with a sunshine tear good morning that is bright enough to blind a vampire. Kanata does not see hearts floating in the air. He sees a purple sludge meter dripping down the screen like a horror game UI. He freezes up, convinced his approval rating just nosedived into the dirt. The cringe hits so hard his soul actually tries to log out of the server right there. He dissociates for 6 hours straight. His brain goes on autopilot until the final bell snaps him back to reality. He starts spiraling and calculating every mistake he has ever made, thinking she hates his guts. Then she spawns right behind him with those big, teary anime eyes. She asks why he looks like he just lost a ranked match on a losing streak. He tries to put on his best poker face. The system snitches on him immediately. That cursed meter pops up and starts oozing toxicity right as she sweetly claims she likes his energy. Kanata stares at the HUD like it is a bomb timer ticking down to 0. He frantically waves his hands around like he is fighting invisible bees, swearing he is fine just to stop the anxiety spike. Marika takes the bait and drops the nuke, asking him to hang out after school. The girl is cute, but the UI is screaming "run" in all caps. Kanata is fighting for his life in the most dangerous arena of all, a casual date. He cannot believe he is actually sitting here eating ice cream with Marika like a total normie. They make small talk about the limited time flavor, but inside his head he is running simulations at 1,000 miles an hour. Then she completely shifts the momentum. She hits him with the ultimate power move. She asks for a bite. She knows exactly what she is doing with this psychological warfare. Kanata almost short-circuits on the spot. He realizes he is facing the legendary indirect kiss event, the holy grail of romance tropes. He shakily hands it over, and she takes a massive bite right out of his comfort zone. She looks way too smug about it, leaving him to process the absolute victory he just scored. Then she decides to return the favor. She loads up a spoon and tells him to open wide. It is a counterattack. His heart practically punches through his ribcage. He is not strategically prepared for this level of culture. But right when he braces for impact, she pulls the rug out. Just kidding. She eats it herself while he stands there, emotionally sent to the lobby. She asks if he is feeling better, looking like an absolute angel amidst the falling petals. He knows it is a trap. He calls her out for cheating, but she just laughs. She leans in and pokes his cheek, admitting she actually prefers him when he is a nervous wreck. But Kanata spots a critical system error. She is smiling, but that love meter is dripping purple sludge like a toxic waste dump. He stares at the glitch, wondering if the game mechanics are broken or if she is just that good at masking her stats. The sun sets on his confusion. They part ways, but he is left with more questions than answers. The strategy guide did not prepare him for this. Marika keeps the mask on tight in public, waving goodbye like she is auditioning for Best Girl of the Season. But the second she retreats to her lair, the vibe shifts instantly. It is almost 11 p.m. and she is locked in, staring at his photo like it is the holy grail. Tears start welling up in her eyes as she whispers his name. You would think she just watched her puppy get sent to the lobby, until the camera pans out. It is a full-blown shrine, posters, Polaroids, and a body pillow tucked in bed like a hostage. She is not in love. She is hunting for sport. She hits the deck, screaming at the floorboards about being ignored. The love meter tries to read the signal, but the data is dripping with toxic sludge. It is pure obsession. The system literally panics. The emotion is too heavy to compute. It buckles and snaps in half. That is not a glitch. That is a hardware rejection. Even the interface wants nothing to do with this. She wipes the tears and locks back in. She swears she will make him look her way. Honestly, Kanata does not need a strategy guide. He needs a restraining order and a witness protection program. Kanata is trapped in a glitchy social simulation. He sees likability meters floating above everyone's heads like a cursed HUD. But let's be real, the only thing rising is his stress level. He stares at the numbers, trying to figure out the meta. He checks the leaderboards and spots a disaster. Toyotomi. Her affection meter is so low she is basically fantasizing about deleting his save file from the server. He calculates the odds of survival and gets a big fat 0. He realizes he is one bad interaction away from being sent to the lobby. He resolves to grind XP immediately. He maps out a strategy in his head. Operation Best Friend is officially a go. He launches a surprise ambush. He corners her at the desk, demanding to know her favorite food. She looks at him like he is speaking Klingon. He panics, answers his own question, and realizes he has negative Riz. Period 2. He tries spamming the interact button. He flexes a golden ticket he found in a candy egg, hoping to boost his luck stat. He waits for the applause, but she reacts like he just pulled a weapon. She kicks the desk hard enough to rattle the floorboards, drops a cryptic threat, and leaves him in the dust. The vibe is officially cursed. Lunch break. He spots her camping the hallway and decides to double down. He sprints in to carry her inventory, but she shuts him down cold. Don't touch my stuff. He is getting absolutely ratioed. Period 5. The boss music kicks in. She intercepts him with a wall slam that rattles his ancestors. She grabs him by the collar, ready to send him to the Shadow Realm. He thought he was playing a romance game, but he just unlocked the combat tutorial. She hits him with the ultimate disrespect, calling him a nobody and slapping a silence debuff on him. He tactically retreats to regen some HP, but that cursed meter in his head is ticking down like a doomsday clock. He stumbles into the old park, and boom, instant nostalgia crit. The ghosts of his childhood with Marika start haunting the playground, reminding him of better days. A wild crying sound effect ripples through the air. He investigates the source and finds a mini-boss who clearly lost a 1v1 against gravity. Her knee looks like it got painted with ketchup. Kanata instantly toggles Big Brother mode. He pulls out disinfectant and band-aids with an inventory speed that suggests he has been grinding for this specific quest his whole life. She looks at his supplies and asks if he is running a pharmacy build. He just laughs it off, applying the patch with the steady hands of a surgeon defusing a bomb. He checks her mobility, and she immediately weaponizes the injury. She starts wailing for a carry, demanding a VIP escort mission back to base. You honestly have to respect the audacity. He accepts the quest, but as he analyzes her character model, the pattern recognition kicks in. That face, the attitude, it is all way too familiar. They arrive at the coordinates. Mashiro kicks the door open and announces her return like she just conquered a dungeon. A wild challenger appears from the kitchen. It is Toyotomi, wielding a soup ladle like a level 99 broadsword. Talk about a small world. She thanks him for the escort mission. Kanata's social battery is drained. He calculates the fastest escape route, pivoting to fast travel out of the awkwardness. Access denied. Mashiro hits the grapple button, locking onto his arm with the grip strength of a hydraulic press. She is not letting go. She invokes the ancient law of hospitality. The guest must eat. Toyotomi looks confused, but she knows she cannot win a debate against a stubborn toddler. She sighs, defeated, and drops a tactical head pat on the little one. Kanata runs a quick risk assessment. The probability of poison is low, so he accepts the invite. He peeks into the kitchen. Seeing the school's ice queen wearing a frilly apron deals massive damage to his composure. It is a critical hit. She catches him staring and instantly bans him from the server. The moment of truth. He takes one bite. Boom. His taste buds ascend to a higher plane. He tells her she is a certified 5-star chef. She reveals she runs this entire base solo. Kanata's respect meter goes through the roof. He compliments her grind, and she turns as red as a tomato. Watching her switch into mom mode changes the meta. She is not a cold-hearted demon lord. She is actually wholesome. Who knew? He finishes the meal, thanks the chef, and prepares to extract from the mission area. Critical failure. The kid has fallen asleep on his lap. His movement speed drops to 0. It is too cute. Even Toyotomi is looking at him with hard eyes. He realizes this girl has layers. He hits her with a sincere thank you, completely shattering her defense rating. Then Mashiro launches a surprise attack hug. Achievement unlocked. Big brother status acquired. She deploys the ultimate weapon, the puppy dog eyes. She begs for a rerun. Toyotomi folds instantly. If the kid says he stays, he stays. There is no fighting the GM. Toyotomi hits him with the softest goodbye in history, but there is a technical foul on the play. Her hand is practically super glued to his sleeve. Kanata stares at the grip, calculating the social physics, and realizes he has to politely ask for his arm back before this turns into a rom-com misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Marika is sprinting home like she is trying to beat a speedrun world record. She has zero clue that she is about to faceplant directly into a misunderstanding of catastrophic proportions. She rounds the corner and spots the two of them trading awkward blushes like Pokemon cards. Instinct takes over and she tactical rolls behind a pillar. Her brain tries to process the visual data, but she is getting a 404 error. It just does not compute. She peeks out, analyzing the cozy atmosphere and that gentle "see you tomorrow" wave. Her internal jealousy filter kicks into overdrive, warping reality. In her eyes, this is not a polite farewell. It is basically a marriage proposal happening in slow motion. The conclusion is instant. She slams her hand against the wall, cracking the plaster. In her twisted logic, they are not just friends. Oh no, they are full-blown live-in partners sharing a mortgage and a cat. She mentally labels Toyotomi a thieving cat and casually crushes a solid concrete pillar with her bare hand like it is made of styrofoam. Kanata freezes. The hair on his neck stands up because he senses a demon-level boss spawning directly behind him. Marika is already spiraling, analyzing Kanata's social life like it is a crime scene. She is convinced something went down at Toyotomi's house, connecting imaginary red strings on a mental conspiracy board. The realization hits her like a truck. If they are visiting each other's houses, the ship might have already sailed. She calculates the odds, and they are looking terrible for the home team. Before she can fully panic, Kanata strolls into the classroom looking completely unbothered. The audacity of this man to look so calm while her world burns is impressive. Marika hits the drift button and slides the door open with zero chill. She enters the room with the energy of a raid boss. She tries to act casual, failing miserably. She immediately drops the heavy "about yesterday" line. That is the universal code for drama. Toyotomi pulls up out of nowhere. She throws a casual wave, looking effortless. The confidence is blinding. Kanata greets her by her first name. Marika takes critical emotional damage. You can actually hear her health bar depleting. First name basis? In high school law, that is practically a marriage proposal. She is losing it. Her brain is running 1,000 simulations a second, and they all end in tragedy. She demands an explanation. Kanata just smiles. He says they are just friends, like it is no big deal. The main character density is off the charts. Marika reboots. Crisis averted. She breathes a sigh of relief, thinking she is safe. Actually, never mind. Her brain goes straight to the gutter. Friends with benefits? The thought is so spicy it breaks reality. She is imagining some serious culture right now. The jealousy meter literally explodes. Kanata thinks she is about to be sent to the lobby, but she is just cooking herself alive in her own delusions. Kokona Mikasa is stuck in spectator mode, watching the chaos from a safe distance. She feels like she is just rendering in the background while the main characters play the game. Seeing Kanata and Marika flirting, bonding, stings a little. She calculates her odds and decides she is done being an NPC. She needs a strategy to steal the aggro. She zones out, running a mental simulation of every interaction she has ever had with him. The result hits her like a truck. She is absolutely cooked. It is love. Then she spots a glitch in his defense, a goofy dog pen in his hand. Target acquired. She dives in, asking about the merch to break the ice. It is a critical hit. Kanata admits he only bought it because it looks like his Shiba Mameko. Kokona counters with the ultimate trump card, a golden retriever. Kanata loses his mind, practically petting the air just thinking about the fluff. The next day, Kokona hits the streets. She is on a mission to manifest a totally accidental, definitely not planned encounter with her crush. She doubts her RNG, but boom, Kanata spawns right in front of her. You gotta love scriptwriter convenience. She panics so hard her brain short circuits, calling it a hateful meeting. Kanata barely hears the slip-up. He is too busy staring at the floating UI bar above her head, watching those affection numbers climb. Attention shifts to the dog Chocolate. Kanata guesses the name instantly. Kokona thinks he is a psychic, but let's be real, he just looked at her vibe and took a wild guess. Kanata decides to drop the truth bomb. He looks her dead in the eye and tells her she has a cute personality. Critical hit. Kokona spirals into the abyss, wondering if this is high-level flirting or if the man is just dense. Spoiler alert, he is denser than a black hole. Her brain goes into overdrive. She starts writing a whole fan fiction in her head where the dogs fall in love, forcing the owners to date by proxy. Kanata watches the affection gauge break the sound barrier. The man is literally suffering from success. But then, reality hits. He remembers his loyalty to Marika-chan. He needs to delete this romantic vibe immediately. He asks to play with the dog, but he has a plan. He is going to trip on purpose and look like an absolute uncoordinated loser to give her the ick. He commits to the bit. Face meets pavement. Maximum cringe achieved. He starts sobbing like a toddler about his face hurting. He is really selling the performance here, aiming for that Oscar. Kokona stares at him in horror. The ick is real. her affection meter drops to freezing temperatures. Kanata mentally celebrates his own humiliation, but fate has other plans. Koukando tries to play tug-of-war with Chocolate, but that dog has serious horsepower. She gets launched straight into Kanata. The loser strategy backfires instantly, turning a clumsy fall into a romantic catch. She seizes the moment. She looks up and asks him to hold her hand, you know, for safety reasons. Kanata panics. He tries to salvage the cold shoulder strat. He rejects her, claiming it is way too embarrassing for him. Disaster strikes. She finds his awkward refusal absolutely adorable. The meter skyrockets again, and a second bar unlocks. Kanata realizes he will never understand the female mind. Marika is out here grinding cardio on the embankment, but let's be real, she is trying to outrun her own cringe. She tells herself, if I just run fast enough, maybe I can glitch out of this awkward storyline. She stops to touch grass, trying to force a peaceful slice of life moment into existence. Just a girl in her hydration. But the universe wakes up and chooses violence. She spots a couple engaging in aggressive public affection, and her water goes everywhere but her mouth. A classic spit take to assert dominance. It gets worse. She spots Koukando walking with some random NPC and 2 dogs. Marika's brain completely breaks. She looks around and thinks, is everyone pairing off? Am I the only one solo queuing in this server? She is buffering while the world moves on. Then she locks on to the final boss. Kanata is just sitting there, minding his own business, looking suspiciously innocent. But then she sees Koukando blushing nearby and her logic processor fries. She assumes Kanata is activating his passive Riz skill again. The jealousy gauge does not just rise, it hits critical mass and snaps the needle. She snaps. Marika grips the tree bark like she is about to rip the whole thing out of the ground and use it as a bat. She screams internally, "You spontaneous flirter!" She is radiating absolute menace energy. Kanata feels a chill go down his spine. His survival instincts kick in faster than a pro gamer's reaction time. He thinks, why do I hear boss music? He checks his 6 and finds a literal demon camping behind the tree. That is not the face of a rom-com heroine. That is a horror movie villain waiting for a jump scare. And just to make things weirder, the UI itself gets possessed. The affection meter manifests a cursed mask and starts vomiting purple sludge. You know it is bad when even the game mechanics are sick of this drama.